This is just a vent post, but any advice would be appreciated. I'm Ashley, 17 female. My sister, whom I'll call Jess, is 25 female, has been married to her husband Jake, 34 male, for 2 years. They got together when she was just starting college, and as far as I know, they've never had any problems. Whenever they visited, they seemed like the model couple. My parents never made the right choices in life, and because of this, my sister basically raised me. I'm so grateful to her for this, and I know she made many sacrifices to do so. When she was in college, I would call her at least 3 times a week to get updates and see how she was doing. In those conversations, she would talk about school, her plans, and then about Jake. She described him so wonderfully that it raised my own standards for love. For example, she would tell me about the flowers he gave her, the beautiful dates they went on, and how he treated her so well. After living with my parents, who should have divorced a long time ago, I didn't have a clear idea of what a healthy relationship looked like. So, I became quite close with Jess and Jake. It had always been just me and my sister growing up, so when she introduced me to Jake, it felt like I finally had an older brother. Eventually, Jess and Jake moved in together, got engaged, and now they're married. My parents kicked me out because I refused to pay them rent. I have a job at a luxury horse ranch, which I love. They offer perks like using their horses for practice and free lessons with a riding instructor. However, my pay isn't great, and my parents were asking for too much, so I found myself living with Jess and Jake. Jake works from home, so unless he's taking Jess out or at the gym, he's usually at home. He makes enough money, but I have no idea what he does. Jess told me it's his family's company, so that explains it. Recently, they told me they were expecting a baby, which I was very excited about. However, my sister has had a few miscarriages in the past, so we needed to be extra careful with her. This pregnancy has turned out to be complicated and high risk. My parents had an old car that I could drive to work and school, but after they kicked me out, I could no longer use it. This was disappointing because I liked the freedom of having a car. Jake insisted on taking me to school in the morning and driving me to and from work, which I was extremely grateful for. It saved me from taking the bus or walking. After Jake finished his gym routine, he would come home, shower, get me Starbucks, and drop me off at school. In the afternoon, he would pick me up and drive me to work. He was usually waiting outside after my shift, which was a great help. I was thankful for how much time he took out of his day to help me. In the car, we would talk about Jess and the baby, but he would also ask if I was dating someone or had a crush. He would wink and say, "You're so beautiful. It's not possible that there's nothing going on. Come on, you can tell me." I was talking to a guy named Alex, 19M, who worked at the ranch. But it felt too early to discuss it, so I was vague in my answers. Eventually, Alex asked me on a date, and I was excited. I told Jake about it on the way home after my shift, but he immediately went cold. There was no warmth in his response. He started asking a lot of questions, and I thought it was just the protective older brother thing. But when I told him Alex and I had been talking for a month, he freaked out and got really angry. He called me a liar and said I had been trying to hide it from him. The thing that stuck with me was when he said, "What about us?" This left me confused about what he meant. Now, I'm overthinking everything that has happened since I moved in with them. There's a pool in their backyard, and sometimes I go out to swim or tan. I've noticed that whenever I do, Jake makes an excuse to come outside, whether to grill or mow the lawn. I felt like I was being watched. A few times, he swam with me, and I thought he was just working out. After swimming, I would take a shower in the hallway. Jake and Jess have their own bathroom connected to the master bedroom. After my shower, I would go to my room to change and sleep. Sometimes in the short distance between the hallway and my room, wearing only a towel, Jake would be waiting for me and say goodnight. Now, I wonder if there was another reason for that. I don't want to bring these concerns up to my sister because she's been fragile during her pregnancy. I don't want to stress her out or hurt her or the baby. I need to know if I'm overthinking things. I didn't consider that my sister might take Jake's side over mine, but after reading comments, I think I should start collecting evidence. I'll also try to change the dynamic between Jake and me without raising red flags. I'm willing to tell my sister if I feel there's immediate danger, but I'd rather wait until she's healthier to relay this news. I want to give Jake the benefit of the doubt, but it was scary to see him lose control like that. I feel like he's under a lot of stress with the high-risk pregnancy and taking care of Jess. However, I need to establish some boundaries. After his outburst, I didn't feel safe. I know I can't overpower him, so I'll ask friends if they can carpool me. And I'll reach out to Alex to see if he can give me rides. Worst case, I'll find a job I can walk to. In the meantime, I'll try to maintain a pleasant relationship with Jake. Update. Is my sister's husband acting weird? Or am I overthinking? I want to thank everyone who commented on my last post. After reading the comments, I realized I'm no longer safe in this situation and need to make changes. I tried to talk to Jake after posting, but he was still in a bad mood, so I went to my room. In the middle of the night, I felt trapped and decided to take a walk to clear my head. I was there for about 15 minutes when I got a text from Jake asking where I was. Then my phone started blowing up with calls from him. I can't describe the fear I felt. I just wanted to be left alone. Eventually, I picked up, and he unleashed a flurry of insults, calling me an effing princess who always gets her way. He told me to send him my location, which I refused to do. I told him to take a breather and think about what he said. I called Alex, who thankfully picked up and explained everything to Jake. I was shaking and crying, but Alex drove over to me and asked questions to calm me down. I eventually relaxed and told him everything again. Throughout this, my phone kept ringing, and I assumed it was Jake, so I ignored it. Eventually, I saw my sister's number calling. Despite knowing it might be Jake, I picked up. It was indeed Jake, who unleashed another round of insults loud enough for Alex to hear. Alex took the phone from me and told Jake to shut up and that I was safe, then hung up. Afterwards, Alex reassured me that everything would be okay. He drove me to the ranch and told his parents about what happened. I'm grateful they decided to take me in and let me stay in one of their extra rooms in exchange for some work around the farm. I cuddled with Alex and tried to fall asleep. I didn't go to school today because I needed a breather. After Jake's reaction and the comments getting to me, I began to worry for my sister. I called her and she picked up, clearly upset. She asked if I was safe and okay. Jess told me that the night before, she woke up to Jake yelling, which startled her. She pretended to be asleep and heard him take her phone off the charger. After hearing more yelling and the front door slamming, she realized Jake had gone to look for me with her phone. She was scared he would genuinely hurt me. After an hour, Jake came home still in a bad mood. When Jess asked where he had been, he blew up on her for questioning him. She said she had never seen him this angry before, and he was wrecking furniture. After a few minutes, he left, but thankfully left her phone behind. She checked the call logs and saw all the calls to me while he was gone. She called a friend to pick her up and tried reaching out to me, but I was sleeping. She was scared he had found me and apologized for not being able to protect me. Jess asked why I didn't tell her about Jake's behavior, but I didn't want to stress her out during her pregnancy. We both ended up crying. Apparently, my parents are allowing her to move back in rent-free to help raise their grandbaby. If this had been an option earlier, none of this would have happened. Jess and I went out for dinner, where I showed her my post. We cried again. She said she had never been scared of Jake before, but after seeing his anger, she was shaken. We still need to get our things, but we'll reach out to set a date to move everything out. My dad and Alex will be there just in case he tries anything. According to Jess, Jake has tried to reach out and apologize many times, claiming he was worried for my safety and that I shouldn't be out at night. He had no idea she could hear what he was yelling at me, so she knew he was lying. Jess told him she would be filing for divorce and hung up. I love my sister and wish her nothing but the best. I know she will recover from this and find an amazing man who loves her. In other news, Alex and I are going on a date next week, which makes me happy. Thank you to the Reddit commenters for stressing me out so much that I needed a smoke break. You may have saved me. I don't know what would have happened if I had been in my room that night, but I'm grateful I didn't have to find out. And that's the end of the story. What do you guys think about this story? Do you have anything to say to the poster? Let me know in the comment section below. And I will see you guys on the next video.